The research vessel Horizon's Edge drifted through the empty darkness of the void. This was a region of space that every civilization avoided. No stars burned here. No planets spun in orbit. There was only silence and shadow, and the strange signals that had brought them to this forgotten corner of the galaxy. Dr. Park stood at the observation window, her breath fogging the cold glass. She was a linguist, a specialist in dead languages and lost communications. In her 32 years of life, she had decoded messages from 17 extinct species, but she had never seen anything like what floated before her now. The ancient starship was massive beyond understanding. It stretched across the void like a sleeping giant, its hull darker than the space around it. The vessel was so large that the Horizon's Edge looked like a small fish swimming beside a whale. Scans estimated its length at over 40 kilometers. Nothing in the current galactic fleet came close to such size. Captain entered the observation deck with heavy footsteps. He was a man of 50 years, with gray hair cut short and eyes that had seen too many strange things in deep space. He stopped beside and stared at the ancient vessel. 2 million years old, he said quietly. That is what the dating systems tell us. 2 million years before any species we know developed space travel, before humans walked on Earth. Nodded slowly. Who built it? Where did they go? Those are the questions that Ambassador keeps asking, replied, and I have no answers for him. Ambassador was waiting for them in the briefing room. He was, an being with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected the light in patterns of blue and green. He represented the Galactic Compact, the alliance of spacefaring species that had maintained peace for 3,000 years. His mandibles clicked nervously as and entered. This vessel concerns me greatly, said. His voice was translated through a device on his chest. There are legends among my people, stories of beings who came before all others. We call them the Builders. They created worlds. They shaped stars. And then they vanished without explanation. Specialist looked up from her console. She was the youngest member of the crew, only 25, but her skills with engineering systems were unmatched. I cannot scan the interior, she reported. Our technology cannot penetrate the hull. I do not even recognize the material it is made from. We found an opening, said. A small gap in the hull on the port side, large enough for a shuttle to enter. I am proposing that we send a team inside. His compound eyes shifted with worry. Is that wise? We do not know what defenses such a vessel might possess. We came here to investigate, replied firmly. That is exactly what we will do. The shuttle carried 6 crew members through the gap in the ancient hull, sat near the front, her heart beating fast with excitement and fear. Beside her, checked his equipment with calm precision, monitored the shuttle systems while 3 security officers watched the darkness outside. The interior of the ancient ship was vast and empty. Their lights cut through shadows that had remained undisturbed for 2 million years. Dust floated in the beams like tiny stars. The architecture was strange and beautiful, with curved walls and surfaces that seemed to flow like frozen water. The shuttle landed in what appeared to be a docking bay. The team stepped out carefully, their boots making soft sounds on the floor. The air was stale but breathable, preserved by systems that had somehow continued to function across the ages. This is remarkable, whispered. She ran her fingers along the wall, feeling patterns carved into the surface. These markings, they might be writing, some kind of language. Walked ahead, his light sweeping across the massive chamber. No signs of life, no bodies, no remains of any kind. It is as if everyone simply left. Studied her scanner with frustration. My equipment still cannot read anything. It is like the ship is invisible to our technology. They moved deeper into the vessel, following corridors that twisted and turned in ways that should have been confusing but somehow felt natural. Found herself admiring the design, the way every surface seemed to serve both function and beauty. "It is incredible," she said aloud, her voice echoing in the corridor. "Everything about this place is so beautiful. Whoever built this understood art as well as engineering." The lights flickered. Everyone froze. The corridor, which had been completely dark, now glowed with faint illumination. Soft blue light pulsed along the walls like a heartbeat. "Did you do something?" asked urgently. The engineer shook her head, her face pale. "I touched nothing. My equipment cannot even interface with these systems." The security officers raised their weapons, scanning for threats, but there was nothing to see, only the gentle glow of lights that had been dead for 2 million years. His heart pounded in her chest. She thought about what she had done. She had spoken. She had said words aloud, and the ship had responded. "Hello," she whispered. The entire corridor burst into light. Panels along the walls illuminated in sequence, racing away from where she stood and disappearing into the depths of the ship. A low hum filled the air, the sound of ancient systems waking from their long sleep. Grabbed his arm. "What did you do?" "I just spoke," she said, her voice shaking. "I only said hello." His voice crackled through their communication devices. He had remained on the horizon's edge, watching through their cameras. "This is impossible," he said. "The ship has been dormant for 2 million years. Nothing should be able to activate it. Nothing." But something had, and that something was voice. More lights came online. A doorway ahead slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a larger chamber beyond. The ship was waking up, responding to sounds it had not heard in ages beyond counting. Checked her scanner again. Power readings are increasing throughout the vessel. Systems are coming online in sequence. It is like the whole ship is starting up. Because of her voice, one of the security officers asked, "How is that possible?" No one had an answer. Stepped forward slowly, moving toward the open doorway. She felt drawn to it, pulled by a curiosity stronger than her fear. "Say something else," said quietly. "Say something in a different language." Thought for a moment. Then she spoke a greeting in Old Korean, words her grandmother had taught her as a child. The lights pulsed brighter. She tried Mandarin, the same response. Spanish, French, ancient Latin. Every human language she knew produced the same reaction. The ship recognized them. The ship responded to them. "Try," suggested. Activated her translator and spoke a formal greeting. Nothing happened. The lights continued their gentle pulse, but there was no new response. She tried 3 other alien languages. Silence. No reaction at all. The ship only responded to human voices. "That cannot be right," said through the communication link. "Humans are a young species. Your civilization is only thousands of years old. How can a ship from 2 million years ago recognize your language?" Stood in the doorway of the newly opened chamber, staring at the wonders within. Consoles lined the walls, covered in the same strange writing she had seen before. A central platform rose from the floor, surrounded by what looked like display screens waiting to show their secrets. "I do not know," she admitted, "but it is responding to us, only to us." Captain looked at his team, then at the ancient vessel that was slowly coming back to life around them. They had come seeking answers about the past. Instead, they had found questions about themselves. Questions that challenged everything they thought they knew about human history. "Report to the horizon's edge," he ordered. "Tell them what we have found, and tell them to prepare for anything." Because somewhere in the depths of the ancient ship, more systems were waking. And in the darkness of the void, a signal began to broadcast outward, reaching toward the distant stars. Something was calling out. Something was waiting for a response, and could not shake the feeling that they had just started something that could not be stopped. 3 days had passed since the ancient ship first awakened. In that time, the vessel had transformed from a dark tomb into something alive and waiting. Lights glowed in corridors that had been black for 2 million years. Air circulation systems hummed with renewed purpose. And everywhere the human crew walked, The ship responded to their presence. Dr. Park had barely slept. She spent every waking hour inside the ancient vessel, speaking to it, testing its reactions, trying to understand the impossible truth before her. The ship recognized human voices, only human voices, and no one could explain why. Dr. Lee had arrived on the second day, brought in from a nearby research station. He was a man who had spent his life studying the ruins of dead civilizations. His hair was white despite his middle age, and his hands trembled slightly as he examined the ancient walls. He had never seen anything like this. No one had. "The writing is changing," reported to the gathered team. They stood in the central chamber, surrounded by consoles that flickered with strange symbols. "Watch this." He pointed to a section of wall covered in carved markings. As approached, the symbols began to shift and rearrange themselves. They flowed like water, transforming into new patterns. "It does this whenever she gets close," said. "The ship is trying to communicate with her, with humans." Navigator made a sound of disbelief. He was an avian species with feathers of deep purple and sharp eyes that missed nothing. His wings folded tightly against his back as he watched the display. "This makes no sense. They have traveled the stars for 8,000 years. Humans have only been in space for 3 centuries. Why would an ancient vessel respond to such a young species?" "That is exactly what we need to find out," Captain replied. He stood near the central platform, watching everything with careful attention. Stepped closer to the shifting symbols. She had spent her career studying languages, learning the patterns that all communication shared. These symbols were unlike anything in her experience, but she could sense meaning in their arrangement, purpose in their design. "They are becoming clearer," she said softly. "Every time I come here, they change a little more. I think the ship is learning how to talk to me." Ran her scanner over the console nearest to her. "Power distribution is amazing," the engineer reported. "The ship is running on an energy source I cannot identify. It has been producing power for 2 million years without maintenance. That should be impossible." "Many things about this vessel should be impossible," Ambassador observed. The diplomat had joined them inside the ship, despite his earlier concerns. His compound eyes studied everything with a mixture of wonder and fear. The builders of legend were said to possess technology beyond understanding. Perhaps those legends were true. A soft tone echoed through the chamber. The symbols on the wall stopped shifting and formed a new pattern. Stared at them, her breath catching in her throat. "I can read this," she whispered. "These are words, ancient words, but I recognize the structure. This is a human language." Moved beside her, his eyes wide. "That cannot be right. The oldest human writing is only about 5,000 years old. This ship predates humanity itself." But knew what she was seeing. The symbols had arranged themselves into something she could understand. A message waiting 2 million years to be delivered. "Children of Earth," she read aloud, her voice shaking. "We have waited long for your return. The blood remembers what the mind forgets." The chamber fell silent. No one moved, no one spoke. Broke the silence first. "What does that mean? Return from where? Humans evolved on Earth. Your species has never been anywhere else." Did not answer. She was staring at the symbols, watching them shift again. More words formed, more impossible messages. "Long ago, before the current stars were born, we traveled the galaxy. We seeded life on 1,000 worlds. We created children in our image and scattered them across the cosmos. Earth was one of our gardens. Humanity was one of our seeds." Captain put his hand on shoulder. "Are you saying that humans did not originate on Earth?" "I do not know what I am saying," replied. "I am only reading what the ship tells me." Was packing now, his scientific mind racing to process this information. It would explain certain anomalies, gaps in the evolutionary record, questions about human development that have never been answered, if humans were placed on Earth rather than evolved there naturally. "This is dangerous speculation," interrupted. His mandibles clicked with agitation. You are suggesting that humans are not what they appear to be, that your species has a history older than any of us knew. The Galactic Compact was built on the understanding that all spacefaring races are equals. If humans are something else, something older. Then what? Asked calmly. We are still human. We are still the same people we were yesterday. Learning about our past does not change who we are today. But could see the concern in his compound eyes. There was afraid, not of the ship, but of what its existence meant for the careful balance of power among the stars. A new sound filled the chamber. It was different from the tones before, more urgent. The lights shifted from soft blue to pulsing amber. Checked her scanner with alarm. The ship is transmitting something, a signal broadcasting outward on frequencies I have never seen before. Can you stop it? Asked. I cannot even interface with the systems, replied. The ship is doing this on its own. Spread his wings in a gesture of concern. Where is the signal going? Deep space, answered. It is aimed at a point far beyond any charted territory. The signal is incredibly powerful. It will travel for light years. Turned back to the wall of symbols. They were changing again, forming new words. It says the signal is a beacon, a call to others who wait. The ship is announcing that it has found survivors. Survivors of what? Asked. Before could answer, another tone sounded. This one was different. It came not from the ancient ship, but from their communication devices. Someone on the horizon's edge was trying to reach them. Captain, the voice said. It was the communication officer on their ship. We are detecting a response to that signal. Something is answering from deep space. Activated his communicator. What kind of response? Another signal, sir. Similar frequency to the one the ancient ship transmitted. It came almost instantly, faster than light speed. That should not be possible. Made a sound of deep distress. What have you awakened? What have you called to this place? Felt a strange calm settle over her. The fear was still there, but underneath it was something else. A sense of recognition, a feeling of coming home to a place she had never been. The ship knew we would come, she said quietly. It has been waiting for us, waiting for humans to find it and speak to it. Everything that is happening now was planned millions of years ago. By whom? Demanded. By the builders. Are they still alive after all this time? I do not know, admitted, but I think we are about to find out. The symbols on the wall shifted one final time. A new message formed, and read it with a voice that seemed to echo through the ancient chamber. The sleepers wake, the scattered children gather, the long silence ends, prepare for reunion. Captain looked at his team. Humans and aliens stood together in the heart of a vessel older than their civilizations combined. They had come seeking knowledge of the past. Instead, they had found a door to a future no one had imagined. We need to contact Earth, he said. The authorities need to know what we have discovered. This is bigger than our expedition. This affects all of humanity. It affects all of us, added quietly. If humans are descendants of the builders, then everything the Galactic Compact believes about the order of the universe may be wrong. Placed her hand on the wall of symbols. The surface was warm beneath her fingers, alive with energy that had waited ages for her touch. Something is coming, she said. The ship knows it. I can feel it. Whatever answered that signal is moving toward us right now. Outside, in the darkness of the void, something ancient stirred. Something that had been waiting in the depths of space for 2 million years. The signal had reached it. The call had been heard. And it was coming to meet its children at last. The fleet arrived on the 7th day. 20 warships from Earth Command dropped out of faster-than-light travel and formed a protective ring around the ancient vessel. Commander Shin stood on the bridge of the flagship, studying the impossible ship that had thrown the galaxy into chaos. She was a woman of 45 years, with sharp features and eyes that had seen battle. Her uniform bore the marks of 3 decades in service to humanity. She had fought pirates, negotiated with hostile species, and defended Earth's colonies against threats beyond counting. But nothing had prepared her for this. "The reports were not exaggerated," she said to the officers around her. "That ship is larger than anything we have ever built." Captain's face appeared on her communication screen. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes from days without proper sleep. "Commander Shin, thank you for coming. We have made significant discoveries, but the situation is becoming complicated." "I have read your transmissions," replied. "You claim this ship responds only to human voices. You claim it contains messages suggesting humans are not native to Earth. These are extraordinary claims." "I know how it sounds," said, "but I have seen it with my own eyes. Dr. Park has documented everything. The evidence is clear." Nodded slowly. "I want to see this evidence for myself. I am bringing a team to the vessel. Please have Dr. Park ready to meet us." The shuttle carrying and her team docked in the ancient ship's bay, was waiting for them, along with End. The commander stepped out and looked around the vast chamber with careful eyes. "Show me," she said simply. Led them through the corridors, demonstrating how the lights responded to human speech. She showed them the central chamber where the symbols changed and reformed. She read the messages that appeared on the walls, translating the ancient words for the newcomers. Listened without speaking. Her face revealed nothing of her thoughts. When finished, the commander walked to a console and studied the glowing symbols. "This is either the greatest discovery in human history or the most elaborate hoax," she said finally. "I need more proof before I report this to Earth Command." "There is more," replied. "Something arrived 2 days ago, another ship." His eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, another ship?" They took her to the observation deck of the ancient vessel. Through the transparent walls could see it clearly. A second ancient ship had emerged from deep space, smaller than the first but still massive by any normal measure. It floated nearby, its hull glowing with soft light. "That ship answered the signal," explained. "It came from somewhere beyond charted space. It has been traveling for who knows how long, looking for vessels like this one." "Has anyone made contact with it?" "It will not respond to our communications," reported. "But it sent a single message when it arrived. It said it was waiting for authorization from a recognized voice." "Turn to look at your voice." "Any human voice, I think, but I have not tried to speak to it yet. We were waiting for guidance from Earth Command." Before could respond, another shuttle arrived. This one carried an unexpected passenger. Elder was a species that looked like giant turtles with shells covered in ancient markings. They were among the oldest spacefaring races, their civilization stretching back 50,000 years. Elder himself was over 800 years old. He moved slowly through the corridors, his ancient eyes taking in every detail. When he reached the observation deck, he stopped and stared at the 2 ancient vessels floating in space. "So it is true," he said. His voice was deep and rough like stones grinding together. "The builders have returned." Ambassador approached the elder with obvious respect. "Elder, you know something about these ships." "I know many things that the Galactic Compact does not wish to remember," replied. "The Compact has suppressed certain histories, destroyed certain records. They feared what might happen if the younger species learned the truth." "What truth?" demanded. Turned his massive head to look at her. "The truth that humans are not what they appear to be. The truth that your species has a claim to this galaxy older than any of ours." He gestured to a nearby console and helped him access the ship systems. Images appeared on the display screens. Star maps, planetary records, a history written in light and symbols. "The builders ruled this galaxy 2 million years ago," explained. "They were not conquerors, they were gardeners. They traveled from world to world, seeding life, nurturing young species, building the foundations for future civilizations. Every spacefaring race today exists because of their work. And the builders were human? Asked. They were what humans would become, answered. Or perhaps what humans once were. The records are unclear, but the genetic markers are unmistakable. The builders and modern humans share the same fundamental biology. You are their descendants. Study the images on the display. If this is true, why did no one tell us? Why has this been kept secret? Fear, admitted reluctantly. The Galactic Compact is built on the principle that all spacefaring species are equal. If humans are revealed to be heirs of the builders, that balance is destroyed. Some species would demand that humans be given leadership. Others would demand that humans be destroyed before they can reclaim their heritage. Destroyed, said with alarm. There are factions who already call for it, said gravely. Word of your discovery has spread. Not all who hear it are pleased. Some see humans as a threat that must be eliminated. As if to prove his words, alarms began sounding throughout the ship, rushed to a console and pulled up sensor readings. Multiple vessels approaching from different directions. They are not broadcasting identification codes. Activated her communicator. All Earth ships battle stations. Unknown vessels approaching. Prepare for possible hostile action. Through the observation windows, they could see lights appearing in the darkness. Ships of various designs belonging to different species. They came in clusters, dozens of vessels converging on their position. Some of those are warships, reported, his feathers rising with tension. And cruisers. This is not an official fleet. These are extremists who do not believe in the Compact's laws. They mean to destroy the ancient ships, said calmly, and perhaps humanity along with them. His jaw tightened. They will not succeed. My fleet will defend this position. Your fleet is outnumbered 3-1, observed with worry. The extremists have gathered forces from half a dozen species. They have been planning this. Looked at the approaching enemy fleet, then at the ancient vessels they had come to protect. We cannot let them destroy these ships. The knowledge here belongs to all of humanity, perhaps to the entire galaxy. Then we fight, said simply. We hold this position until reinforcements arrive. Earth will not abandon its heritage without a battle. Felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She had started this. Her voice had awakened the ancient ship. Her curiosity had led them to discoveries that now threatened to tear the galaxy apart. There may be another way, she said slowly. The second ship is waiting for authorization from a human voice. If I can activate it, perhaps it has defenses that could protect us all. You do not know what that ship might do, warned. The builders possess technology beyond our understanding. Awakening another vessel could have consequences we cannot predict. The consequences of doing nothing are clear, replied. We are about to be attacked by people who want to erase human history. I will not let that happen. She turned to face. Commander, I need permission to try. Looked at the approaching enemy fleet, then at the young linguist who had stumbled into the center of a galactic crisis. She made her decision quickly. Do it, whatever happens, we face it together. Walked to the communication console. Her hands trembled slightly as she activated the transmission system. The second ancient ship floated before her, waiting in silence as it had waited for 2 million years. She took a deep breath and spoke into the void. My name is Park, I am human. I am a child of Earth. I speak for my people and I ask for your help. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the second ship began to glow. Light spread across its hull, illuminating ancient patterns that had been invisible before. A voice filled the chamber, transmitted directly into their minds rather than through any speaker. Authorization recognized. Voice pattern confirmed. Welcome, daughter of the builders. The long wait is over. How may we serve? Outside, the enemy fleet opened fire. The battle for humanity's past had begun. Battle erupted across the void like a sudden storm. Energy weapons flashed in the darkness as the extremist fleet attacked from all directions. Commander Shin commanded her 20 ships from the bridge of her flagship, her voice steady as chaos unfolded around them. All vessels form a defensive perimeter around the ancient ships. Do not let any enemy craft through. Explosions bloomed in space as the first volleys struck their targets. The Earth fleet was outnumbered, but they held their positions with desperate courage. These were humanity's best soldiers, and they would not retreat from the fight for their species' heritage. Inside the first ancient vessel stood frozen as the voice continued to speak in her mind. It was warm and patient, like a teacher addressing a long-lost student. "I am called the Keeper," the voice explained. "I am an artificial mind created by your ancestors. For 2 million years I have traveled the galaxy, searching for any descendants who might survive. You are the first I have found." "We need help," said urgently. "We are under attack. People want to destroy these ships and everyone aboard them." "I am aware of the conflict outside. My sensors detect 63 hostile vessels. Your defensive fleet is brave but insufficient. Allow me to assist." The second ancient ship began to move. Its engines produced no visible thrust, but it glided forward with impossible grace. Weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing systems that glowed with soft golden light. The Keeper's voice filled the minds of everyone in both ancient vessels. "Please inform your fleet to move away from the attacking ships. I will disable them without causing permanent harm." Hesitated for only a moment before issuing the order. Her ships pulled back, opening a gap between themselves and the enemy. The extremist fleet pressed forward, sensing weakness. Then the Keeper struck. Golden light swept out from the second ancient ship in waves. It passed through the attacking vessels like wind through leaves. Every ship it touched went dark. Engines died. Weapons fell silent. Life support continued, but all offensive systems simply stopped working. In seconds, the entire extremist fleet drifted helplessly in space. Admiral arrived with the main Earth fleet 3 hours later. 50 additional warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel and immediately began securing the disabled enemy vessels. The Admiral was a tall man in his 60s, with a reputation for wisdom and careful thinking. He had commanded Earth's forces for over 20 years. He boarded the first ancient vessel and requested to speak with the Keeper directly. Served as the link, translating the ancient AI's thoughts into spoken words. "You are a military leader," the Keeper observed through. "You protect your people from harm. This is a noble purpose." "I do my duty," replied. "But I need to understand what we are dealing with here. You say you have been waiting for humans for 2 million years. What exactly are you waiting for us to do?" "Allow me to show you." The chamber filled with light. Images formed in the air around them, displaying scenes from an age before recorded history. They saw the builders at the height of their civilization, cities that floated among the stars, ships that traveled between galaxies in moments, a people who had mastered the secrets of the universe itself. "Your ancestors achieved everything a species can achieve in physical form," the Keeper explained. "They explored every corner of the cosmos. They answered every question that matter and energy could pose. They reached the limit of what beings of flesh and blood could become." And then asked, "They discovered something else, something beyond the physical universe, a dimension where consciousness itself could exist without bodies, a realm of pure thought and infinite possibility." The images shifted to show something harder to understand. Abstract patterns, flowing energies, a suggestion of something vast and beautiful that could not be captured in visual form. "The builders chose to transcend," the Keeper continued, "to leave behind their physical existence and join with this higher dimension. It was the next step in their evolution, but the journey was one way. Once they left, they could not return." "Why would they leave?" asked. "If they had everything, why abandon it?" Because they found a threat, something that exists in the spaces between dimensions, something that feeds on physical matter and conscious life. The builders left to fight this threat, to hold it back from consuming the galaxies they had nurtured. The chamber fell silent. Everyone present felt the weight of what they were being told. The builders had not vanished because they grew tired of existence. They had left to protect everything they had created. They have been fighting for 2 million years, the keeper said, alone in dimensions we cannot perceive, but they are growing tired. The threat is too vast for even them to contain forever. That is why they left ships like me behind, to find any descendants who might one day be ready to join them. Admiral took a slow breath. You are saying that humanity has a choice. We can take the technology the builders left behind and live as we are, or we can follow them into this other dimension and help fight a war beyond imagination. That is correct. The technology is yours regardless of your choice. It is your birthright. But the call to join the builders is an offer, not a command. You must decide for yourselves what path to take. Step forward. How long do we have to make this decision? The threat grows stronger with each passing century. The builders estimate they can continue holding it back for perhaps another 1,000 years. After that, it will break through and begin consuming physical reality. If humanity chooses to join the fight, you will need to prepare, to develop your minds and spirits to the point where transcendence is possible. Elder spoke up from his position near the wall. What happens to the rest of us, the other species of the galaxy? Are we to be abandoned while humans ascend to fight cosmic battles? No, the keeper replied with something like warmth. The builders seeded life across the galaxy because they believed all conscious beings are precious. Every species that achieves space travel is given the same knowledge, the same chance to develop toward transcendence. Humanity is not more important than others. They are simply the first of the builders' children to find their way home. Felt tears forming in her eyes. The weight of it all was overwhelming. Her species had been gardeners of galaxies. They had sacrificed their physical existence to protect reality itself, and now that responsibility might pass to their descendants. There is more you should know, the keeper added. When a human voice activated the first ship, I was alerted across the vastness of space, but the signal also reached others. The builders themselves heard it. They know that their children have been found. Can they communicate with us? Asked. Not directly. The dimensional barrier prevents clear contact, but they have sent a response, a gift of knowledge downloaded into my systems during my journey here. It contains everything they learned in 2 million years of existence beyond the physical realm. What kind of knowledge? Asked carefully. Science, art, philosophy, history. The answers to questions your species has not yet learned to ask. It is too much for any one mind to hold, but it can be shared, distributed among your entire civilization. It will accelerate your development by thousands of years. Admiral turned to face his fellow officers, the alien ambassadors, and the scientists who had gathered in the ancient chamber. This is not a decision I can make alone. This affects all of humanity, perhaps all of the galaxy. Then take the knowledge to your leaders, the keeper suggested. Let your people discuss and debate. The choice must be made freely, with full understanding of what it means. Looked out through the observation windows at the stars that had suddenly become more meaningful. How do we begin? I will transfer the initial files to your systems. They will include everything you need to replicate builder technology, faster travel, cleaner energy, medical advances that will extend your. These gifts are unconditional. Use them as you see fit. And the rest, asked, the knowledge about transcendence, about the threat. That will come when you are ready. For now, focus on understanding what you have been given. The path to transcendence cannot be rushed. It must be chosen with clear eyes and full hearts. The keeper began the transfer. Data flowed from the ancient ships into the computers of the Earth fleet. Alien ambassadors watched with a mixture of wonder and concern. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, and no one could predict what would come next. Stood quietly amid the activity, her hand resting on the warm wall of the ancient vessel. She had spoken a simple hello, and the universe had answered with secrets beyond imagination. "Are you afraid?" asked, coming to stand beside her. "Yes," she admitted, "but I am also grateful. Our ancestors left us a gift and a responsibility. We owe it to them to be worthy of both." Outside, the stars continued their ancient dance. Somewhere beyond the visible universe, beings who had once been human continued their eternal fight against the darkness. And on the edge of the void, humanity took its first steps toward a destiny 2 million years in the making. The keeper's voice echoed one final time in its mind. "Welcome home, daughter of the builders. Your journey has only begun." The message spread across Earth in hours. Within days, every human in the galaxy knew the truth about their origins. The news changed everything and nothing. People still went to work, still loved their families, still lived their daily lives. But now they did so with the knowledge that they were part of something far greater than they had ever imagined. The Galactic Compact convened an emergency council. Representatives from every spacefaring species gathered on the neutral station of HFY to discuss what humanity's discovery meant for the future. Arguments filled the great assembly hall. Some demanded that humans share all builder technology immediately. Others warned that humanity was becoming too powerful too quickly. A few still whispered about the need to contain the descendants of the builders before they could reclaim their ancient dominion. Admiral addressed the assembly on behalf of Earth. He stood alone on the central platform, surrounded by beings of 100 different shapes and colors. His voice was calm and clear. "We understand your concerns," he said. "Humanity did not ask for this heritage. We did not seek to upset the balance that has kept the galaxy at peace. But we cannot deny what we have learned about ourselves. We cannot pretend that the builder ships do not respond to our voices." "Then what do you propose?" The question came from a delegate, her compound eyes bright with suspicion. "We propose partnership. The technology the builders left behind belongs to all conscious beings, not just to humans. We will share everything we learn. We will not hoard knowledge or power. The builders did not create this galaxy to be ruled by one species. They created it to nurture life in all its forms." Elder rose slowly from his position among the delegates. His ancient voice carried across the assembly. "I have lived for 800 years. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species destroy themselves with greed and fear. What the human says rings true to my old ears. The builders were not conquerors. They were caretakers. If humanity wishes to honor that legacy, they must prove it through action, not words." Nodded respectfully. "Then we will prove it. Beginning today, the builder knowledge will be made available to any species that wishes to study it. Our scientists will work alongside yours. Our discoveries will be shared openly. We ask only that you extend the same trust to us." The debate continued for many days. Agreements were made. Compromises were reached. The Galactic Compact survived, changed but unbroken. Humanity had a new place among the stars, not as masters but as elder siblings returning to a family they had never known existed. On the ancient ship in the void, Park prepared for a different kind of journey. The keeper had offered her something extraordinary, a chance to connect fully with the ship's systems and experience the accumulated wisdom of the builders firsthand. "It will change you," the keeper warned. "You will see things that no modern human has seen. You will understand things that may be difficult to carry." "I know," replied, "but someone has to be the bridge. Someone has to translate what the builders knew into something our people can understand." Stood beside her, worry clear on her young face. "Are you sure about this? There has to be another way to access the information. The files are too complex for normal computers to process. The knowledge exists in patterns that only a human mind can interpret. I am the best qualified for this task. Captain placed a hand on her shoulder. You do not have to do this alone. Whatever you see, whatever you learn, we will be here when you come back. Smiled at the friends she had made during this strange journey. A starship captain, a brilliant engineer, alien ambassadors, and an ancient AI. Not the company she had expected when she set out to study dead languages. Thank you, she said, all of you. Now let me see what our ancestors wanted us to know. She placed her hands on the central console. The neural link activated. Light filled her vision. And saw everything. She saw the builders at the dawn of their civilization, taking their first steps off there. She saw them spread across the galaxy over millions of years, learning and growing and changing. She saw them create the first life on Earth, simple organisms placed in warm oceans to begin the long journey toward consciousness. She saw them discover the threat, a darkness between dimensions, a hunger that consumed light and life and hope. She saw their fear and their courage as they realized what must be done. She saw them transcend, millions of builder minds joining together, leaving their bodies behind, becoming something new, something powerful enough to hold back the darkness. She felt their determination and their love for the children they were leaving behind. And she saw what they had learned in 2 million years of existence beyond physical form, truths about the nature of reality, secrets of consciousness and creation, knowledge that could elevate any species that received it. When opened her eyes, she was weeping, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming beauty of what she had witnessed. They loved us, she whispered. They loved all of us, every species in the galaxy, every creature that lives and thinks and hopes. That is why they fight. That is why they suffer in dimensions we cannot imagine, because they believe we are worth protecting. The Keeper's voice was gentle in her mind. Now you understand. Now you can share that understanding with others. Turned to face her companions. Her eyes held a new depth, a wisdom that had not been there before. I know what we must do. We must not fight among ourselves. We must not compete for power or resources. We must grow together, all species as one, until we are ready to join our ancestors in their eternal struggle. And if some choose not to join, asked, then they are free to live as they choose. The builders never forced anyone to follow their path. They only opened doors. It is up to each being to decide whether to walk through. 1 year later, the first human ship built with builder technology launched from the orbital shipyards of Earth. It was called the Promise, a name chosen by the people of Earth through a worldwide vote. The vessel represented humanity's commitment to honor their heritage through service, not dominion. Stood on the bridge beside Captain. The old ancient ships had powered down after transferring their knowledge, their long mission finally complete. They would remain in the void as monuments to the beings who had created them. Where do we go first? Asked. Looked out at the stars. Each one now held new meaning. Each was a potential home for life that the builders had nurtured. Everywhere, we have so much to learn, so much to share. Ambassador stood nearby, representing the Galactic Compact on this historic voyage. His mandibles clicked in what now recognized as a smile. I must admit, when we first discovered that human voices activated the ancient ship, I was frightened. I thought it meant humanity would try to dominate the galaxy. And now, asked. Now I see that we were all waiting for the same thing, a purpose greater than ourselves. The builders gave us that purpose. You have helped us remember it. Elder had chosen to remain on but he had sent a message for the launch. Read it aloud to the assembled crew. The stars have watched us for millions of years, waiting to see what we would become. Today, we take the first step toward an answer. May we prove worthy of the faith our ancestors placed in us. May we carry their light forward into the darkness. Activated the new engines. The Promise moved forward smoothly, silently, impossibly fast. Stars streaked past the viewports as they entered a new form of space travel, one that would have seemed like magic to humans just a year ago. The journey has begun, the Keeper's voice whispered in his mind. The ancient AI had chosen to join them, its consciousness transferred into the Promise's systems. Are you ready for what lies ahead? Thought about the darkness between dimensions, the threat that waited beyond the stars, the choice that humanity would eventually have to make. No, she admitted honestly, but we will become ready. That is what the builders taught us. Every great journey begins with a single step taken despite fear. She looked at the people around her, humans and aliens working together on a ship designed by ancient minds, a crew united not by species or nation, but by a shared dream of something greater. "We are the children of the builders," said softly. "We are the seeds they planted across the galaxy, and now, at last, we are beginning to grow." The Promise sailed on through the infinite night, carrying hope toward distant stars. Behind them, Earth spun slowly in its ancient orbit, no longer the birthplace of humanity but still their home. Ahead lay mysteries beyond counting, challenges beyond imagining, and a destiny that had waited 2 million years to be claimed. The long silence was over, the children had found their voice, and the universe would never be the same.